Edward Allen Hicks was born in 1951 in Lebanon, Pennsylvania, where he then grew up. His father's name was George Hicks, and he worked at Hershey Chocolate Factory in Hershey, Pennsylvania. His mother's name was Earl Hicks, and she was a stay-at-home mom. Mr. Hicks attended Lebanon High School. He also went to Lebanon Vo-Tech School for a year. After school, during junior and senior year, Mr. Hicks would work at Foodland as a stock boy. His job was to stock shelves and help the customers carry groceries to their car. For 6 months after graduating, he worked at Crescent Plastics in Myerstown on the second shift. In 1969, 1 year after graduation, Mr. Hicks would have been drafted if he hadn't volunteered for the service. He was then sworn in on April 1st. He chose to enlist so he could at least pick which branch he wanted to serve. If he would have been drafted, he wouldn't have had the choice. Mr. Hicks's reason for choosing the Navy was as follows.
Well, we used to see a lot of things on TV about being a great adventure and all that. So I figured, it might be worthwhile getting to see different countries. It was fun at the beginning.
When asked about the hardest part of training, Mr. Hicks replied,
I guess it was the first time being away from home. It was a little scary at first.
At first he ranked as an E3, but throughout training he took courses to become an E4, which had a little more pay. As an E4, which was a third-class petty officer, he had 3 stripes on his uniform, plus 1 along the top. The training took a little while, but after boot camp they went to the Great Lakes to spend 6 months learning about electronics and being trained to operate them and tested at the end of each week. During basic training, they did a lot of marching from one building to another. During this, they had to carry a fake rifle and learn different skills and tricks with it. Mr. Hicks often found himself being ordered by the drill sergeant to do 10 push-ups as he was often out of step. During training, he got to experience many new things. His most vivid memory was when he and his buddy were in the Great Lakes, which is near Chicago. So when they got the weekend off, they went into Chicago and stayed at the YMCA. He got to see many unique things that without the service he probably would have never seen. For Mr. Hicks, one of the hardest parts of the military lifestyle for him to adapt to was the food. He stated,
I think it was more the food. Food wasn't real good in the service. And then when you were on a ship, it was kind of rough eating sometimes because the ship was always rocking and rolling. And a lot of people got seasick.
He did enjoy getting to see many different countries such as Greece, Italy, Norway, Spain, and England. He also got to cross the Atlantic Ocean 3 times, which took 10 days one way, and the Mediterranean Sea. His first assignment was on a guided missile cruiser known as the USS Little Rock, stationed in Boston, Massachusetts. On the way to Boston, he wasn't sure what to expect or where to go. Once he arrived, there were people there to guide him to the ship, which had been dry docked.
The ship was in what they call dry dock. So when I got there, you could see the whole ship. It was not in the water. It was all propped up on different blocks and stuff.
For the USS Little Rock, Mr. Hicks worked as a fire control technician. He was in charge of the radar unit, which was located on top of the ship. The radar would send out a signal, and when it hit something, the signal would be reflected back onto the screen. It was used to find and lock onto different targets. The targets were then sent down to the computer room, which made sure the guns were pointed in the right directions. He had many responsibilities, such as running all kinds of tests to make sure everything he was in charge of was working properly. He also had to wash things and mop floors. While the ship was dry docked, he went to Guantanamo Bay to receive more training, where they learned how to shoot the guns and practice locking on different targets. Mr. Hicks served during Vietnam, but the ship he was on never made it. It was so close to the end of the war that the ship just got canceled. One of his most vivid memories from the ship was when they were crossing the Atlantic and hit a hurricane. The waves were approximately 30 feet high and rocked the ship back and forth. At night, they had to strap themselves into the bunker, else they would fall out of the bed. At one point, he had been out on sea for 10 days and saw nothing but water. Mr. Hicks stated that life aboard the ship was,
It was really close-knit family.
Though he enjoyed his service in the military, Mr. Hicks did express how much he missed his family and being away from them for so long.
And I said, you miss your families really a lot when you're overseas.
He did write to his family and even some friends in his free time almost every day. Another thing he did to stay in touch was make phone calls. He said,
When you were in port somewhere, you could call
on
them.
the other hand, he was also grateful because he was Though he was away for a long time, he got to see things like,
I got to see the Leaning Tower of Pisa.
and he said that he wouldn't have ever gotten to see this in his lifetime without the military. When in the military, you do get recreation time. Mr. Hicks would get to the port in Boston where their ship would dock, and him and a buddy would drive home for the weekend. It was sometimes challenging because they didn't have much time.
Like a 8-hour drive, and we'd leave like 4 o'clock on a Friday afternoon, get home, and then leave to go back about 10 o'clock at night. Usually just get there.
This shows how much Mr. Hicks loved and missed his family. The service gives you so much more than just taking you cool places or teaching you necessary survival skills. It also is a very eye-opening experience, and for most, it can be a really emotional thing.
Well, when you get sworn in, it's kind of really moving, because you know you're there to serve your country, and if you have to go to some place where there's fighting and stuff, you're really ready to go.
Then he said later in the interview that
It was kind of really moving when you get sworn in. I just salute the flag and you take an oath.
this shows that the military isn't just difficult on a physical level, it is difficult on an emotional level as well. Even though Edward Hicks enjoyed serving in the military, those days eventually had to come to an end. He recalled what happened on his last day of service.
We were in the Mediterranean, and somebody came down and said, "We got some orders for you. You're going to be getting out of the service."
He told us how it was a very emotional day for him because yes, he got to go back and see his family, but he also had to leave his friends that he made while serving. They got flown back to Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, where his paperwork was processed. Then he got to return home.
So the day I got out, I had a little MG that I had there. That's what I came home in. So as soon as I got in that car, I started flying down the highway to get home.
So that ended his almost 4 years of service. When Edward returned home, he and his family were very happy and excited to see each other. He got to see his daughter for almost the first time. After his service, Mr. Hicks said,
I'm prouder to be American now than I was when I was growing up. He said the country does mean a lot.
he also said,
Well, we should try to strive for more peace in the world.
overall, Mr. Hicks served for a little under 4 years in the Navy as a fire control technician and worked at the Indiantown Gap for 2 years. Mr. Hicks said,
Well, I hope it has some influence on some people to maybe think about joining the military. You can learn a lot. You can get an education.